wearing my lonely feather as I fly. I circle around, I circle around the boundaries of the earth, the boundless universe. They're getting closer and closer now to being able to actually prove that there are countless other universes with the equivalent of our solar systems and planets on them.
Definitely. Why not?
So the answer to the question about Woodstock is this. They allowed us to drive our truck onto the land because we had such a big setup. So we came the day before. But the next day, oh, wait a minute. Any for it, I forget whether it was the day before or the day of Woodstock itself. So there was a kind of a middle class parents, young, like in their 30s, or and their daughter was maybe 10, 11, 12, and she had dropped some acid, and they were freaked out trying to bring her down. And we were going by in the truck, and it had these big side doors so you could take, big packages in and out. And the girl was really freaking out, and so were the parents. So I just went by and I said, and the car was still running. I said, "Oh, we're gonna just take her with us, and we'll just be over the hill there. Give us just a half an hour, and then come up and get her." So she jumped in, and I think as soon as she got in the truck, I said to her, "Man, your parents are really out there, huh?" And she just completely relaxed and laughed and said, "Yeah, they are." Yeah. So that's my Woodstock story.
And who was the? How'd you even know about it? The event in itself.
Oh, we were invited by, who was the guy who did the Fillmore?
Bill Graham.
Bill Graham. We were invited by Bill Graham to play there. In fact, it was the biggest paying gig we ever did, $1,500. That was the most we ever got. And he hired us to play Dawn, all the Dawns, because that's what Christopher had been doing. And so that was it. We were getting paid that money to come at the Dawn. And Christopher must have known something because he played Friday afternoon after we arrived and spent hours setting up. And lo and behold, after that, it rained nonstop all day Saturday and Sunday. But here's the great story. This is hard to believe, but you just have to, suspension of disbelief. So we get there with the truck and we say to Bill Graham, I think himself, oh, the place where you want us to be, we got to be on the other side of this stream in order to set up. We've got too much stuff to be carrying it all across the stream. We have to get the truck as close as we can. So then, if it was, maybe it wasn't Bill Graham, it was a guy called Bob Bassar. He went like this with his fingers. You put the two little fingers in your mouth and whistled 2 or 3 times. And all these people start coming over the hills to where he's whistling. And then he says, look, these guys need to have this truck on the hill on the other side, so we need a bridge here. The stream wasn't very big. It was just too big to drive over in the truck. We would have got stuck. So all these people started collecting stuff and hammers and da 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 da. I was amazed how fast they built it. And the truck was one 1.5 ton truck. But of course, the stream was really small. But at any rate, and the bridge went like this, kind of a parabola. So we drove over that, and then it started raining. And I tell you, if that bridge hadn't been there, Woodstock would have been a disaster because that stream swelled up so big that it was dangerous to cross it. And so everybody went back and forth on this bridge.
And you were nearby the bridge?
Yeah, we were just kind of over a little tiny hill. And then once we got set up and it started raining, we had to guard the instruments all night. Usually it was okay, but because he was the artist, I spent most of the time there. And one guy, he was on heroin, I think. He just walked right into, well, it was like a little kind of dinky fence just to show people not to walk in that area. He walked right in it and through it. And, I had to grab him by the collar and really look him in the eyes and say, listen, man, we got a bunch of delicate instruments here. You got to turn around and walk around all of this stuff. Anyways, so that's Woodstock for you.
And you were there for 3 or 4 days?
We were among the first to arrive because of our big setup thing. And right next to us was, oh God, who was that guy that went around in the truck all the time?
Kim Kesey?
Yeah, he wasn't there, but the Kesey people were there. And because it was the kind of scene it was, they did free open mic. They'd be on the stage and they'd say anybody that wants to come up and say something or do something, you can do that, right? So they're up there and they invited this black guy, had raised his hand, could he come up on the stage? And the guys that were running it, like I said, it wasn't Kesey himself. It was his next layer down.
The Merry Pranksters.
That's right. He went up and he was, kind of in a business suit even, And he said, well, I heard all this talk about LSD and I wondered if anybody would be able to give me some so I could try it. All of a sudden, 35 people from the audience rush up on stage to give him some, right? So then I put it out of my mind, and next morning, I think it was next morning, I look up, and he's completely naked with a beautiful blonde white girl, his arm around her, her arm around him, smiling. They were just, it was that LSD smile. And when I said we were the last to leave, they were still standing there smiling and waving us goodbye. So that's Woodstock.
Mm.